guys, Clyde here, and today we are going to be talking about captains in World of Warships. Now, this is a video I've been talking about making for a very long time, and I hope that it is truly useful for you. Specifically, what we're going to talk about today are some techniques and concepts that I have used to help me grind my captains to 21 points quickly and efficiently, and I think they're things that you can use in your game as well. Today's discussion is going to follow this outline. First, why should we optimize our captain XP? What do we get out of it? What are the benefits? Then we're going to talk about how we can shortcut this process in order to make it as fast and efficient as possible. Next, we'll talk about which captain you should choose for your first, second, maybe even your fifth 21-point captain. And then we'll talk about critical concepts about how the captain XP grind works and how I optimize building my 21-point captains. Now, a quick note, there are legendary or special captains in World of Warships, and I do plan to make a video about those captains and their attributes and what makes them better from a normal captain, or even maybe comparing them against one another. However, I don't have time in this video to cover that topic, so we're going to cover that in a separate video. If you want to catch that video when it comes out, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. It really helps out small YouTubers like myself, and you'll be notified as soon as it comes together. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get into our first topic. Why should we optimize leveling our captains? Well, 21-point captains are very powerful. They offer perks which enhance our ship's capabilities, which can in turn help us basically win more games and be more effective. Now, leveling captains, of course, also takes a very long time, and processes that take a long time are ripe for optimization. The total XP that it takes to bring a captain from 0 points to 21 is 2,908,000 XP. And because the scale is graduated and each successive level takes longer, that means the halfway point is somewhere between the 17th and 18th point, which means I just told you that your 17-point captain is halfway to 21. And that is way more than any ship in the tech tree. It's 3.28 times more than the Kremlin, which is the tech tree ship that takes the most experience points to get. It's 3 1/3 Kremlin grinds, and people complain about the Research Bureau. Now, there's also a snowball effect involved here. All of the XP that a captain earns once they hit 21 points goes into what we call your Elite Commander XP pool. And this XP can be spent to level up other captains on other ships. Because of this accumulation of Elite Commander XP, your first 21-point captain is the hardest to get, and each successive one gets easier. Now, that, of course, assumes that you're going to be playing the ships that you run your first 21-point captain on. More on that later. So how do we shortcut this process in order to make it a little bit faster and a little bit easier on us? Well, the easiest way is to start with a captain that has more than 0 points. If credits are no issue for you, you can buy a 6-point captain for 900,000 credits from the recruitment screen. And this reduces the grind down to 2,871,000 XP. That's a savings of about 37,000 captain XP. And you can think about whether or not that's a good deal in terms of, is it easier for me to get 900,000 credits, or is it easier for me to get 37,000 captain XP? Also, of course, if you're a person who's sitting on a huge pile of credits, perhaps 900,000 is not a real big problem for you and you rarely run low. In that case, don't even worry about it, just buy the captain. For those with more shekels than credits, you can buy a 10-point commander for 1,500 doubloons. 1,500 dubs is about $6 US, and this can be a generic commander from the recruitment screen, or you can go into the armory and buy a special commander or a Dasha Perova commander as well. This reduces your grind down to 2,725,000 credits, which is a savings of about 183,000 commander XP. And for those who, like I said, have a couple of bucks, maybe that's not a bad deal. Now, you can also buy a 10-point captain for between 35,000 and 175,000 coal in the armory. These commanders are special commanders, and they have special abilities and perks that are unique to them. That is why there are different prices available. Like I mentioned at the top of this video, I do plan to go into this in detail on a future video for the YouTube channel, but for now, for the context of this video, suffice it to say this is a way that you can get another 10-point captain for free. Now, the same as before, it keeps you from having to grind 183,000 captain XP. Now, what if you wanted to grind up a captain into a fine powder and feed them to another captain in order to enhance the second commander's abilities? Well, you can. When you dismiss a captain, you can recover some commander XP and add it to your elite commander XP pool. 25% of the commander's total XP can be recovered for credits at a cost of 10 credits per point of commander XP, and 100,000 of the commander's total XP can be recovered for doubloons at a cost of 1 doubloon per 110 points of commander XP. This gets pretty expensive, and I wouldn't really do it very frequently unless you're flush with credits or cash. I wouldn't make a habit of it, like I said, but I did did do this with several captains, almost exclusively with credits, although I think I ground one up with doubloons, and I fed them to my other commanders after the commander rework happened earlier this year, because I found I didn't need nearly as many captains as I used to. And we'll talk more on that later. But if and when you choose to do this for either credits and dubs, one word of warning. Be very sure that you want to grind up that captain. Unlike dismissing a captain for free, this change is immediate and irreversible. You might be able to put in a ticket with support if you do it on accident, but better safe than sorry. Another way to get a captain with more than 0 points on it is to complete a mission. Wargaming will often give out 3, 6, or even 10-point captains as rewards for completing basically game tasks or missions. When you get these guys, they go and they slot into your reserves. Don't let them just sit in there. Go take a look every now and again and make sure that you're not running a ship with a worse captain than somebody you've got sitting in the reserves just because you didn't know they were there. Beware, of course, when you move that captain to a tech tree ship, you may have to pay some retraining costs, and we'll talk more about those a little bit later on. Collections often have 10-point captains as rewards as well. I went and scrolled through all my collections for this, and I found a whole bunch of 10-pointers that I got. A few that I'll mention here, just the Resolute and Rapid collection, which came with a 10-point Luigi Sansonetti, who's actually a special captain who has a couple of bonus perks. The Bad Advice collection included a 10-point Cap commander, the little cartoon guy, for my UK ships, and the Great 8 included a 10-point Alexander Ovechkin captain based on the hockey player. There, of course, are more than this, and not all the collections are always available. However, if you're keeping your eye on these, you might be able to get a good 10-pointer that way. There's also the campaigns. Now, campaigns, in fact, there are 2 special campaigns I want to talk about. The Hit Hard, Hit Fast, and Hit Often campaign comes with a 15-point commander, Admiral Bull Halsey, and the Yamamoto Isoroku captain is available from the Yamamoto Isoroku campaign. Also a 15-point captain. Both of these guys reduce the grind down to 2.17 million XP, and that's a savings of 738,000 captain XP. The campaigns themselves can be long and pretty arduous tasks, so you're going to want to bear that in mind when you're thinking about, is this better or worse than just buying a captain and playing a bunch of matches or whatever. So consider that as a possibility if you need to do that. However, if you're kind of working on the campaigns anyway, you might already be pretty close. So check them out and see how far away from these 15-point captains you are. So which captain should I use for my first 21-point captain, my next 21-point captain, my 5th 21-point captain? For me, there's just a few factors that I look at to help make this determination. First of all, which one of my captains is the closest to 21 points right now? We just talked about how long the XP grind is from 0 to 21, and the best pick might be the captain that's simply the closest. Second, which captain is on the ship or the ships that you play the most? Once your captain reaches 21 points, their work is really just beginning, because at that point, you still need to take that captain out and get a bunch of XP, which you can turn around and use to level up other captains in your reserves or on your other ships. Third, do any of your captains offer special bonuses? Maybe your 14-point Gunther Luchens isn't your top captain, but his special abilities alone might be reason enough to consider focusing your leveling efforts on him instead of the captain that is in fact closer. Finally, what captains do you need ready for upcoming competitive modes? Do you play ranked, and do you need a special captain in there? What about clan battles? Is clan battles coming up for you, and what captain do you need ready for that upcoming season? Maybe you play in King of the Sea, but let's be real. If you participate in King of the Sea, you don't really need to watch this video, so just never mind. Next, I want to talk about some critical concepts that will help you maximize the XP grind on your commanders on your way to 21. First of all, we need a way to understand our commander pool as a whole rather than as a series of individual commanders that are individually leveling up. That's the wrong way to think about this. Each commander is part of a group, and that group is trying to raise its overall level, and the best way to do that is to stack damage, or in this case XP, on a single commander. I use a spreadsheet to manage my commanders because the in-game tools in World of Warships are not very good for this purpose. It's not really to Wargaming's benefit to make it easier for you to understand and optimize this, because you'd be more likely to spend money to speed up a captain who could be leveling faster if you could optimize and track your captains better. I'm not accusing Wargaming of anything evil here, but I would say that they're not motivated to make this easy for you to understand, because then you would optimize. Remember the old adage, what gets measured gets managed. And if you don't track and measure your commander's progress, there's no possible way for you to measure them and manage them well. Using my spreadsheet, I'm able to see all of my commanders in one place, and I can filter them by country or ship class, or sort them by their progress to 21 points. I use this tool to understand and see the whole problem space, and then I identify the captain that I'm going to push up to 21 points next. I exclusively use my commander XP on that captain, the one I have chosen to be 21 next, and this allows me to do that damage stacking, that XP stacking on the captain who's next in line. I also use this spreadsheet to manage which ships are assigned to which commander, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more later. The second concept that's really critical to thinking about optimizing our captain grind is perhaps the most important. We should have the fewest number of captains possible. We all play some number of games of World of Warships, whatever that might be for you, and we want to focus all of those games on the smallest pool of captains because that would maximize their XP gain per captain the most. Let me give you an example. If we played 100 games and we used a different commander every time, we'd have 100 captains, and each one would make far less progress towards getting to 21 points than if we played that same 100 games but only used 30 different commanders. If we want all of our captains to be 21 pointers, and we do, with 100 commanders, we would need 291 million captain XP to get them there. If we used 30 commanders, we would only need about 87 million captain XP. Now think about that for a second. I know both of those numbers are very large, but you can see just how critical it is that we understand and optimize our captain XP grind. I would much rather grind 87 million XP than 291 million XP. Okay, Clyde, I should fire a bunch of my captains? What does that even mean? Well, not really. Really, the general rule of thumb here is that each of your tech tree ships should have a commander assigned to them. Every single ship in your port that's a tech tree ship, give it a captain. And in almost every single case, all of your premium ships should not have captains that are only used for that ship. There are some premium ships that are so unique that you may want to do this, but typically, unless that has a very specific build or a very specific reason that just doesn't work for any other ship, you should try to avoid doing this. Every time you do, you're signing up to grind another 2.9 million commander XP so that captain can reach 21 points. Now, again, I know that not everybody has every captain in their port as a 21-point captain, but if that is our eventual goal, which again is probably unreasonable, that's the concept. Whenever, of course, there is a reason to have a unique commander for a premium ship, and there are reasons to do it, trust me, you'll know. Right? Just go ahead and do it in that case, but be aware that what you're doing is saying, well, this captain's going to level much more slowly than they could level otherwise. And so you should avoid it whenever possible. Now, the next concept is that moving captains between tech tree boats is expensive, and we should try to do it as infrequently as possible. When we move a captain from one tech tree ship to another, they go into a retraining period. And while they're retraining, they earn XP that goes into a black hole that we never get to see, and it doesn't help level the captain. And during that time, they're also less effective, which kind of sucks. We can skip the retraining period if we spend doubloons or elite commander XP or even free XP to retrain them immediately. However, this is costly, and any of the elite commander XP or free XP that we spend is not going to go to getting us our next 21-point captain. It goes into that same black hole that I described earlier. Elite commander XP and sometimes even free XP should be spent on leveling our captains to 21 points, not helping them retrain because we moved them, because we had a poor plan in terms of leveling our captains. There are, of course, going to be times when it makes sense to spend elite commander XP to move or retrain a captain. And when that is the case, it'll be apparent. Like I said earlier, you'll know when that is the right thing to do. Go ahead and just do it. It's not a big deal. However, if we can avoid it, we should, because that'll get us to 21 faster. The last concept to be aware of and to take advantage of is perhaps the most important, or maybe the second most important. I don't know. I said something else was most important earlier. And that is to take advantage of the changes of the Captain Rework for the early part of 2021. For those players who have premium ships, the Captain Rework from the early part of that year was a huge boon in grinding Captain XP. The change allowed us to reduce the number of captains required to man our various ships more drastically than ever before. Let me explain. Captains can now have one configuration for every class of ship. I mean like large stroke class, like destroyers, cruisers, battleships, carriers, and now submarines. That is to say, if you have a 10-point captain, that 10-point captain can use all of their points, all 10 points, to create a build for each class of ship that they serve on. But wait, Clyde, I hear you say, I have to retrain captains when I move them to new ships. You told me not to do that. How does this help me? Well, Okay, I guess I have to admit that this is sort of a tax cut for the rich. Basically, this is a benefit for people who have premium ships and a bigger benefit for people who have a bunch of premium ships. When we move captains, we can move them without penalty from a tech tree ship to any premium ship. And because those captains can now have class-specific builds for any of those premium ships that we might move them to, say a battleship captain that wants to move to a destroyer, we can now utilize some of our best captains, our captains with the most points, across more ships in our fleet than ever before, as long as the ships we're moving them around to are premiums. Remember earlier when I said I was able to grind up a whole bunch of captains into captain dust and feed them to my other commanders? It was because of this change. I used to have a bunch of dedicated captains to run certain classes of certain premium ships, or have suboptimal builds where I shared with a tech tree ship of the same class a captain. And that was really inefficient. When we converted over to this new system, I was able to take a very stern look across my captain spreadsheet and look at all of the captains that were there and identify a whole bunch of redundancies. I must have ground up 15 or maybe 25 captains. And I was able to use all of that extra ground up captain dust to level up other captains in order to get closer to my goals. But it took me taking a holistic look at the entirety of my captain problem space in order to identify those problems. And I recommend you guys do the exact same thing. Now, here's another example. A couple of weeks ago, I managed to get the Maxwell Immelmann, a premium tier 10 German aircraft carrier, out of a premium box with this new German battleship event. Take a look at this bad boy. It's really sweet. This is my German CV captain. It's a German Dasha Perova. She's assigned to the Wesser, or the Wesser. She's got 11 points. That's my best German CV captain. However, because the Immelmann is a German ship, I can click here and say, let's change the commander out. I have a 21-point captain on my Z52, and I have a 21-point captain on my Kurfürst. Immelmann, being premium, can use either one of those captains. Let's choose the Kurfürst captain just for kicks. And look at this. She's got a full spec that I can choose right here and use all 21 points on my Immelmann rather than having to use an 11-point CV captain from another tier. When I go back to my Kurfürst, if I click on the Kurfürst, I will go and say, give me that captain back. It's the one on the Immelmann. I can click here and check this out. She's got a battleship spec that is built out for the Kurfürst. Please don't critique my Kurfürst build. I don't know if it's optimized or not. This is what I run. You guys do your thing. Anyhow, but you can see what I'm doing here. I can also take that ship or that captain and put her on any number of premium cruisers like my Graf Spee and use 21 points there. Or perhaps on my T61 and use 21 points there. Although if my T61 spec is similar enough to my Z52, I might not need to use my Kurfürst captain. Does that start to make sense how we can use one captain, which earned 21 points one time, on one tech tree ship and any number of premium ships in the other classes, and have unique custom-built specs to support that captain? So absolutely, am I going to use my Immelmann with one of my 21-point captains instead of that 11-point captain from my Wesser? Yes, because when I go into tier 10, I need all the advantages I get, especially me, a guy who's not a very good CV captain. Hopefully that example kind of painted a little bit of a picture for us. Okay, to summarize, here are the key takeaways from this video. It costs almost 3 million Captain XP to go from level 0 to 21, and that takes forever. Remember, the halfway point is somewhere between your 17th and 18th point. Your first 21-point captain is the hardest to get. Once you have a 21-point captain, that captain's XP can be used to help level the rest of your captains in a snowball effect. Don't start any new lines with a 0-point captain. Buy one for credits, buy one for coal, buy one for dubs, or unlock one from a mission, campaign, or collection. We need to have a way to organize our captains so that we can look at them in aggregate to understand the full scope of the problem. I use a spreadsheet, and maybe you have your own system, but whatever you do, you need to be able to see all your captains so that you can understand the full scope of this problem and find and correct any inefficiencies with your ship or captain assignments. You should strive to have the fewest captains possible. The goal is to minimize the amount of XP we need to grind and to maximize our captain level across every ship in our ports. The more captains you have, the more XP you have to grind to get everybody up to 21 points. Ideally, you'll have one captain assigned to each tech tree boat and a few special captains dedicated that only go do special premium boats. Make sure you take advantage of the Captain Rework and utilize your highest level captains across multiple lines whenever you have premium ships. thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, if you learned something today, hit the video with the like button. Tell a friend. That's a huge way to help out a small channel like mine. What do you think about this captain grind thing? Do you have techniques that you use to maximize your own captain XP climb? What is the number of 21-point captains that you have in your port, and how do you share? How do you mix and match them? Also, what should I talk about next? I love making videos like this, although they do take a little bit of effort, but I want to make sure that we're making the videos that are the most useful to you guys. So what can we shed a little light on in World of Warships in order to make everybody a little bit more effective and have a little bit more fun out there? All right, guys, we will catch you in the next battle. Until then, take care of each other, and we will see you in the next video as well. Goodbye. Is 2,908,000 XP. And just because the scale, just because, what do you mean just because? Of course, it's because, it's not just because. In missions and collections and campaigns is something you can do to not start at 0 points. And next, I want to record this whole thing again. Premium ships should not have commanders that are uniquely used for just that ship. Now, I mean, first of all, 21-point captains are very, very popular. Captains after is required to take a captain from 0 points to 21 points is 2.908 million. Nah, this is first. I look at which one of my captains is 20 is close. What words? Captain should I choose in order to? Oh my goodness! I just got an instant message. Boatmaster. Hey Boatmaster, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I am working on a new video. How do I stop this thing? Because at some point, getting a 15-point captain to drop in like that is a fantastic thing. And it looks like I just got a message. Let's go see what that's about. Are you doing the thing? I am doing the thing. Captain video. Hey GMAC. How you doing?